Right.
Yeah, I opened the sunroof to my car here.
Oh,
Right. Oh no!
Don't get arrested.
Yeah, I know.
This is the best advertisement for happy hour we have ever done.
Man.
Right here. There you go.
A good one.
through the sunroof.
I cannot.
All right, welcome everybody. I will explain a little bit more about that video here in just a moment, but I would like to start off by acknowledging that I'm holding this meeting on Indigenous lands, the traditional territory of the Salish people, specifically the Tulalip tribes, successor to the interests to the Snohomish, Snoqualmie, Skykomish people who have since time immemorial have hunted, fished, gathered, and taken care of these lands. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and we honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. I would encourage you to take a look. I live up here in Mukilteo, and you can search online who were caretakers of the land that you are on as we're holding this meeting today. So that fun video that we made for our happy hour was a blast to put together, and we of course laughed quite a bit as we were doing it. However, we did it to demonstrate what we would like to do with our membership of the Cannabis Alliance, and we would like to issue a To the Left challenge. So the way the To the Left challenge works is if you want to join the circle, you can take a video of yourself with a reach off to the right, take a quick drag or two, and then pass it off to the left off camera. And then you can submit it by emailing me that video at caitlin.ryan@thecannabisalliance.us. Or if you can find me on Facebook, you can message me there. Or if you have my phone number, you can also text it. And then I'm going to cut it together so we can all have one great circle sesh to the left here at the Cannabis Alliance. If your business wants to take it next level, you can do a Brady Bunch remix, just like we did for our happy hour, where you all hop on Zoom together and you can pass it from window to window, and I'll be cutting those in as well. So excited to put that together and see all of your lovely faces and share a great circle sesh with everyone. Which of course brings me to our happy hours on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. We'd love to see all of you there. We always have a wonderful time. Topics range everything from just what are you smoking today, to gear, to processing. We've talked Delta 8. We talk a lot about equity and hopes and dreams for the industry as we're moving towards federalization here on the horizon. Another great way to engage with your business. Every month in our newsletter, we have our Dank Doodle, which is the masthead for our newsletter. And I'd like to put out the call. I do not have anybody scheduled for our March newsletter. So if you are interested in doing a little bit of design work with our logo, and you want to be featured as our masthead, and then you get a shout out with links in our newsletter, we have a reception list of about 8,000 people that our newsletter goes out to. And so if you would like to take that on, just reach out to me and I'll send you the guidelines for it. And we'd love to highlight your work in our newsletter. Right now, we are in the midst of our membership month, membership March drive for the month of March. Man, that was a hard sentence to get out for some reason. We are calling all licensees the state of Washington. And so if you've got a buddy who's also in the industry, but not yet a member of the Cannabis Alliance, now is a great time to talk to them about why it's important to you that you are in the Alliance and the benefits that you receive here. And so we can build our membership. Our team is only as strong as our membership. And while we have a strong one now, we know it can be better, and we like to open our arms wide. So please go ahead and share anything in the chat. Jill, if you wouldn't mind throwing a link to our membership page for easy sign up. If you are here throughout COVID, we've been providing our general meetings for free. So if you are here and not a member yet, go ahead and hop in that link and take a look at our membership options. We have lots of affordable ways to participate. And another free event that is coming up on March 18th is our trivia night. It's a great way to network. Do not be intimidated by the trivia part of it. All of our participants always have a great time. The questions can get a little bit tough, but that's why you're together in a team. You can come with a group of 4 yourself, or you can just come as an individual and we'll put you together in a team. We are now starting with this first one, a tournament of champions. So each monthly trivia night, the winner will be entered into our tournament of champions. And then as soon as we can find a way to get together in person, sometime over the summer, we will hold a tournament of champions where the teams from each winning month will compete for a grand prize, which will be really fun. So starting this meeting with all things fun and fantastic, I would like to share another video with you to kick us off on just an amazing 420 event. I know 420 last year felt kind of thin and a little bit difficult. We were all sort of reeling. By the way, happy COVID anniversary, everybody. And this year, hopefully it will be our first opportunity to get back together in person in a safe, COVID-friendly way. I would like to welcome James and Dave. I'm going to start off, however, by sharing a video first, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys to talk about COVID relief and the golf tournament this year. There we go.
Can I ask you something? Sure thing. Shoot, Jimmy. When you were my age, did you know what you wanted to do with your life? I never really had that problem. Why? Never mind, you wouldn't understand. Smoke weed every day. Good, so what's the problem?
So while all of these things are fun, keep in mind these are always great networking opportunities, and the Cannabis Alliance this year is so grateful to be the benefactors of COVID Relief 2021. So I will turn it over to Dave and James, and thanks for being here today, guys. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about our golf tournament?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us, Caitlin. We appreciate it. It's great to see some just familiar faces here. Just to give you a little background of me and James, if you don't know us, this is David Tran. James is my partner. We started Dope Magazine back in 2011 right here in Seattle, Washington. So, you know, Dope for those many years stood for defending our plant everywhere. And, you know, we spent many years hand in hand with a lot of people in this room building out this very brand new industry, and certainly appreciate everything that everyone has done here and what the Alliance has done. About a year ago to this date, you know, after we sold to High Times, we wanted to, you know, start a new company, an event company. That was one of probably the most, you know, rewarding things that we did as a company at Dope. And who knew the timing would be you know, not great for an event company. So, you know, last year we immediately moved to a virtual event called Chronic Relief. And we were able to do that virtually, and we were able to definitely raise money as part of a charity. And we were so grateful that the community came through and sent videos to us and reached out to their different partners and built with us. We knew it was a difficult time for the industry and a mystery where it was going to go. But, given the fact that we're back here at this very important holiday, we decided to do a more local, hyper local event. With that too, when we were thinking about who we'd wanted to be a benefactor, the Cannabis Alliance was one of the first things that pop into our mind. What you've done over the years to help our industry here in Washington, not only for the businesses, but also to me, the constituents are absolutely vital. So we're pretty excited about it. And, to me, the golf tournament allows us to, do something in person also, which I know has been very difficult for everyone who hasn't been able to see their friends and be able to come together as a community. We felt this was a perfect opportunity to bring everybody together. So we're excited to, have you on board and, look forward to putting together, a real compliant event, put together a real fun event, and, really give the community an opportunity to see each other under, very safe circumstances, as well as be able to, accomplish what the Alliance would like to, as far as bring in more membership. We have definitely a great setup with Echo Falls up there, and again, we're excited to have you. James,
You.
want to talk a little bit more about the tournament, a little bit about the setup and the exciting things about it?
Sure. Yeah, you always throw it back to me at with the scraps left. But yes, I'll fill in a couple last details that Dave left out. So the tournament's obviously on 4/20 on Tuesday. So we have a complete buyout of the entire golf course. So we will have a private event, which allows us to have consumption and other things, because the course is also owned privately. So it's a nice loophole for us to be able to enjoy ourselves and consume responsibly and within state regulations. So we're happy about that. We have had a pretty good turnout so far from the Cannabis Alliance, getting their foursome signed up and some sponsors coming through. We do have a few opportunities to be involved. If you just want to golf, that's great. You can get a foursome. And of course, if you're part of the Alliance, we offer a discount for that as well. And then whole sponsorships are kind of the kind of easy entryway to, if you just want to have a nice branding opportunity on the course, and you want to be able to engage with all the golfers for the day. It's a really great way to just get out there at a low cost and be able to have your brand out there and be able to interact with everybody on the course. And then of course, if you want to supersize it, we got sponsorship opportunities that we have for the companies that want to get a little bit more exposure. So we have a great network of media partners, of other brands and companies that are helping to really spread the word about this event. So as a sponsor, you'll be part of that entire sort of ecosystem of marketing and brand awareness. So that's really a great opportunity to kind of put your name out there and get some good exposure through the event. So a few ways you can get involved. Of course, for Alliance members, we also offer discounts on the sponsorships of all levels. So we encourage you to take advantage of that. And other than that, we're excited for a fun day of golf and, getting back in person together again. Trust me, like Dave said, being an event producer and having to pretty much sit on the sidelines for the last year has been rough, but we're trying to do something safe and compliant and, something that we feel like people will enjoy on a day that's usually celebrated. So we want to do our best to try to have everyone together again for this awesome event.
Awesome. Thank you guys. We are super excited. Also, the Alliance, we're going to be rolling out our new swag that everybody can partake in. If you are going to be a participant, then we'll also have sales. There will be really fun contests. And we're just looking for a great opportunity. A day like today, I'm assuming the weather is going to be amazing. And just get outside and have great conversations actually in person. And it's going to be so fantastic. So I'm excited to hopefully see all of you there. And thank you both for organizing this. Fairchild always puts on extraordinary events. It's always a blast. And that we get to do this, it will be kind of the first one. And looking forward to it in all the ways. So thank you both very much.
Well, thank you. And if you guys have any questions or you guys want to reach us directly, feel free to. I know can't wait to connect with a lot of the familiar faces here anyways. And, if you guys do have, like, let's just say special guests, I know you brought up a couple of like local celebrities, it was Rick Steves. And if you guys have connections that, let us know. We'd love to take care of them, as a part of the foursomes. I think the more the merrier at this time, and the more exposure we can get on in. Like to James's point, we're working with Marijuana Venture, we're working with Dabstar, and we're working with Sensi Magazine too. So and for us too, obviously content, we're going to be having cameras and build a lot of content that everyone could share together. We want this to be a nice shining light for the industry of how you can build these compliant events, bring together the community. And there's no better beautiful community than the Washington one here. I'm a little bit biased on that, but there's a we're blessed to have this type of a level of people and people that really care about our industry. So we really want to thank you, as a group together and individually for everything you guys have done for the industry and for us, and hopefully we can reciprocate your hard work here.
Fantastic. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing you all out on the golf tournament or out on the golf course. I want to also point out that we are, good grief, I just lost my link that I was going to share with all of you. Okay, I will come back to that. I wanted to share a couple of other additional events that we've been having going on. Quite a few of you have gotten invitations to our Family of the Cannabis Alliance Facebook group. And if you haven't gotten one, just give us a little, you can even put something in the chat and we'll make sure that you get an invite. It is a private group, but it is not just exclusive to members. It is truly the whole family of the Cannabis Alliance. Let us know and we'll get you in that group. We've already started some kind of fun discussions, and it's just a great place to network. And you'll notice that there's sort of a heavy lean here on networking right now. And that has to do with the fact that you guys are our success. And, when I look around this room and see all of the extraordinary experts we have here in front of us, it's a tremendous resource, each for us together. But then as we look out towards the greater community and sharing a lot of that knowledge. So along those lines, I want to let you know, we've been having our Webinar Wednesdays series, and we've been focusing on our legislative issues, and we'll get into our legislative update here in just a few. But each panel is focusing on main areas of focus for the Cannabis Alliance legislative agenda. So our first one that aired was on the Cannabis Research Commission. We did our first Facebook live stream yesterday and felt that went pretty well. So come look for us next Wednesday. We'll be looking at equity and patient needs, and we'll be streaming that again on Facebook, and then we will have a Q&A discussion in Zoom afterwards. If there are any additional questions, the content of that conversation is amazing. And I could say that also about every single one of these panels. They're all extraordinary. If that timing doesn't work out great for you, you can always also visit our YouTube channel. And all of those webinars are up on our YouTube channel, as will be this general meeting after the fact, if you'd like to share that with other folks as well. So along those lines, I would like to announce our first new webinar Wednesday that we have scheduled for Wednesday, April 7th at noon. And the panel will be focused on hemp and Delta 8. We have confirmed Nefi Stella, Jerry Whiting, and Joy Beckerman, who are leading experts in this area. You will not find information this cutting edge and straightforward, and I guarantee presented in the most entertaining and lovely way possible. These are all three just really extraordinary folks, and I would mark it on your calendar now because you're going to want to be in on the front end of that conversation if you're able to be. Oh my goodness, perfect timing. So Jill, I'm having a hard, oh, there we go. Sorry guys, we got a little back end technical stuff happening here. Next up on our agenda, and like I said, perfect timing, Kathy, thank you for hopping in. I would like to welcome Kathy Coffey, who's the Executive Director of Leadership Snohomish. She's here today to talk to us about an opportunity coming up with the Step Up Conference. And I know you just hopped in, but I also know you've got a tight schedule. So we'll all just take a deep breath and I'll turn it over to you, Kathy. Thank you so much for being here today. Oh, so you are still muted.
I thank you for making time. It's not very often when we have a class this afternoon where I have 15 minutes, so thank you. And what I'm here to talk about today is we have our 5th annual Step Up Moving Racial Equity Forward event coming up at for the thanks Neil, and coming up at, we used to have it at the Linwood Convention Center. We have a lot of support from South County to, when we do convene again in person, have the event in South County. But last year, we made an adjustment and showed up online for the event, and we had over 800 people attend. We, first few years, we had 400 people attend, and the tickets, we worked to make it really affordable. There's an $80 ticket for all day, a $40 ticket for first responders and teachers and students. And then there are also free tickets available, and all you have to do is say, I can't afford it and I want to be here, because we want to remove all the barriers to access. It's really set up to support everybody so they can go back to their workplace and create systems of understanding around equity that are not rooted in shame, but in understanding and tools. And we have 20 breakout sessions this year. In the past, we've only had 14 breakout sessions. But we have 20 breakout sessions and 2 keynote speakers. And then we incorporate youth in between with spoken word and everything. And I think for all of our partners, it's a great place to get to show up and demonstrate that you support equity, that it's a value that you embody. And I think it's a great place for the cannabis industry to be present, because a lot of the people there are, you stayed open through all of COVID. You continued to serve. Your reputation is one of being accessible to serving all. And if I can hold that up in any way, I am happy to do so. I've done some advocacy letters to the Linwood City Council, working with them as they have looked at the number of stores that they have in their region. I've supported your presence and the industry presence in City of Everett by twice sending notes to Cassie as she was doing work to decide how many businesses can be within the city limits and what it looks like. And I really believe that there's a stigma that's attached with cannabis and the cannabis industry that doesn't necessarily match the work that you're doing. We've had individuals go through our program trying to grow their network. And I think it's important in all our programs that I have the cannabis industry in the room, because it helps to reshape when people can look over at someone and be like, oh, well, they're just like me. It's really an important hurdle to overcome by being present in the community. So really, I'm just showing up. I can follow up in any way possible to give you tools to bring people to the event. We have sponsorship opportunities that I can forward to you as well to help you have that degree of presence. You know, with as a sponsor, we have sponsor levels from 1,000 to 20,000. Primera did come in at the $20,000 level. And then I'm also really willing to, if you see ways that you feel like this audience, and we usually have a strong BIPOC representation at the conference, but we have a lot of white people who don't know what to do, that are there just simply trying to understand what is next. So if it's a community that you have ideas about what would work for you and your business to show up, I'm really open to defining what partnership looks like too. So that's really, any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kathy, for being here. Does anybody have any questions for Kathy or thoughts? I would like to say thank you so much for coming. You know, there are all kinds of ways to engage, and doing it in this way is just going to be extraordinary. I will be there, and I look forward to seeing some of your faces there as well. I couldn't agree with you more about how critical it is to just show up in the community. And normalization is still our #1 challenge. And this is not only a great opportunity to do that, but also be able to be a part of these really important conversations as we move our industry forward instead of backwards, which has been a challenge here in Washington State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't, if I'm open to conversations, if any of you here, I can. Oh, thank you for putting the, oh, you've got all kinds of stuff in there. Thank you.
No problem.
Leadershipsc.org.
And what she's referring to, by the way, is the chat, and you guys can catch the link to the event in the chat, as well as thank you, Gregory, for popping in the letter that was written. And Kathy and Leaderships Snohomish County has been a really wonderful partner in that effort towards normalization, also with an eye, of course, towards equity and changing the shape of our industry here in Washington State.
And we do projects every year. We have about 23 service projects, and the year before last, we partnered with Cushman's and gave them a project team to help to understand, help to create a plan on how they can give back to the community and create some visible ways to show up as a member of the community rather than just business that people don't understand. So when I say there's all kinds of ways we can work with you, whether it be our programs or you know, showing you through sponsorship at events, having you send key employees through to bring it back to your work. There's a lot of ways we can show up. So
wonderful.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I look forward to seeing you at the conference, and
cool, thanks.
Yeah, look forward to finding
yelling at me.
additional ways as well.
Cool, thanks for letting me just drop in, talk, and leave.
No problem. Good luck with the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Oh man, it's that Zoom life, right, everybody? Whew. now I would like to turn it over. We'll get a move into our updates now at this time. I want to introduce Gregory Foster, who is here with us with the Cannabis Observer. The Cannabis Observer is an online publication that requires our support in order to keep going. And so I want to just throw this little plug in there for you to consider that support. The Cannabis Alliance is a supporter. And then obviously it'd be great if all of your businesses can support the really important work of keeping an eye on our legislature and our regulators and what is happening in Washington State that is so critical to all of us, especially since it still is moving fast. So I'm excited to hear you talk because there's some good traceability news, which I know you'll get to, but I'll let you take it away, Gregory.
And good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see all of y'all again. And thank you for taking the time today. So there's 3 items that I would like to talk about today. We'll go through the regulatory updates real quickly because there's actually not been a lot of public activity on that front. Then we'll talk about the traceability piece that Caitlin was alluding to. And then we'll talk about the new board chair, David Postman, who starts on Monday. So real fast, work our way through some quick updates on the regulatory side. Just a quick note on 2826. It was, the CR 103 was adopted on February 17th. And Ms. Roselson has noticed that I am wearing her awesome sweatshirt for her company. Just a slight plug there. So 2826 was passed and goes into effect in a few days. And this is the new authorities granted to the LCB with regards to restricting particular compounds and substances in vapor products and the ingredient disclosure forms that are going to be going over to the Department of Health, where we don't know what's going to happen with them over there. Anyways, that's well underway. Haven't heard anything about actually using those authorities as of yet. Next up, wanted to quickly mention on the quality control testing rulemaking project. Also, we haven't seen much public activity. The deliberative dialogues all happened and were really pretty interesting conversations. I really thought actually the lab representative conversation prompted some interesting discussion there. And want to go ahead and do a mea culpa. We haven't processed the audio from those 3-hour events because there's a lot of different talking and conversation, and there's been a lot of stuff going on, but we will get to them eventually. I'll make that commitment. But I did hear that on the following up on that, it's my understanding that the policy and rules team at LCB are going to be working on a new set of probably a supplemental CR 102, but no time frame on that, and maybe some additional listen and learn sessions around that piece. But again, all of that is just some vague information that I got. A quick note, the last couple of times, and it's been mentioned several times here today, the agency did release their Delta 8 THC policy statement in a draft form and made that available to the Cannabis Advisory Council members as well as the trade associations. So I've just put a link in there in the chat. If you are interested in taking a look at that draft policy, it is available there. And I think we are going to be hearing more and more about Delta 8 in the coming days. We also talked last time about a new rulemaking project that the agency has undertaken around criminal history, the criminal history point system for applications and renewals. And all just to say that CR 101 is underway, and we don't really have any visibility yet into what the agency is thinking on that. But there's some information there if you are interested. Okay, so moving on to the traceability 2.0 stuff. So this trade association and and I were pretty influential in getting the agency to go ahead and set up a new work group around traceability. You know, traceability has just been a, there's lots of words you can put in there. And so nobody seems to be really happy with it. And nobody really seems to know what to do about it. And so we kind of convinced the agency that, well, maybe might help to bring in some other voices and perspectives on this and hear what the challenges have been and maybe get some ideas about where we should head from here. And so this was, I think, in October 2019 that we first started meeting with them, something like that, and had not met with them again since this last October. And then kind of out of nowhere, the agency called another meeting of the work group and were kind of vague about why they wanted to get together. But the last time we talked, they said that at that point, they wanted to reconvene whenever they'd had a chance to kind of figure out what the next steps might be. So went into that meeting kind of hopeful, and honestly wasn't disappointed. The agency put together and presented a program design around traceability, which, you know, importantly kind of took a step prior to the technology part of the equation, and instead did some internal evaluation about, well, what is traceability for? And what do you actually need to know in terms of reporting for public safety and compliance purposes? And so by going through that process of asking their internal stakeholders at the agency, you know, what information do you actually need to do your job? That amount of information kind of got a lot smaller. And so long story short, a lot of the recommendations that were put forward by the members of that group, many of whom are members of the Alliance, many of those recommendations were incorporated in the draft recommendations, I guess you could say, that agency staff have put together around where to go in the future with regards to traceability. And so we're going to do a write-up around this piece, and we'll go into more detail there. You can find in the link there at the most recent meeting, there's all of the audio is available there from that conversation. The group members have been very open in terms of allowing us to record and publish that, which is not always the case in work groups. And so there's details there about it, and we'll be writing up some more details soon. The agency's next steps around this, you know, internal staff, which includes the deputy director, the chief information officer, the marijuana examiners program manager, the director of enforcement, like leadership in the agency. Their next step is to actually present those recommendations to the board to get their approval to start taking next steps in terms of hiring a dedicated program manager for that, a dedicated project manager for the next steps, and allocating budget. And they were supposed to talk with them on Tuesday, but then Danielle pointed out, you know, you've got a new board chair coming in the week after. Maybe you should wait to talk to them. And so we'll just go ahead and take that segue to talk about the new board chair, David Postman. So the board members are elected, not elected, they're appointed to 6-year terms, which that's a long time. And so Jane Rushford has been the chair of the board for the last 6 years, and her term expired in February. And it's been really kind of uncertain, like who is going to be the new board chair? What does that mean? And so fairly recently, here, let me give you a link here. I guess it was March 2nd. LCB sent out the announcement about David Postman being appointed by Governor Inslee as the new chair. So who's this guy? Postman, most recently, there's his LinkedIn. Most recently, he has spent a good amount of time in Governor Inslee's administration, first starting as Director of Communications, and then becoming his Chief of Staff for, I think, like 5 years, something like that. And then recently moving to a consultant position, sort of like, well, what's next? And so he is obviously very well connected directly with the governor. And there is another link I'll share here. He announced the appointment on LinkedIn. And if you go through the comments there, it's very interesting to see how well connected this guy is across Washington state government. So that's not something, Jane Rushford came from, I'm actually forgetting which agency she came over from at this point. So she was within government, but not like this. So this guy's well connected across the entire state government, which is interesting. It's also interesting that prior to his work in government, he started his career as a journalist and actually was a political reporter for the Seattle Times for 14 years. So of course, from my perspective, I'm like, great, he's got a journalism background. Maybe that'll be helpful in terms of understanding the work that we do and why it's useful. And then he also has a background as a director of communications for Vulcan Incorporated, which is Paul Allen's, Paul and his sister Judy Allen, company that really is just like a way of spending a lot of money on global issues that they're interested in trying to push. So he's got this journalism and communications background, and he's very well connected in state government. Not too much more to add about that, but if there are folks here who have some perspective on him, I think that would be helpful. It is good to note that he's he'll have been right there engaged and involved with the implementation of legalization in Washington state. And so he kind of has some understanding about that background, presumably. Anyhow, that's what I have today. Happy to answer any questions. And as always, thank you very much for the work that each of you does. And the fact that you show up. I think David's comments about the CANFAM are well taken and true. And so thank you all for the work that you do.
Thank you, Gregory, so much. I appreciate that a bunch. And I will say this, Al Ralston, our lobbyist, is not able to join us today, but Lara will be giving our legislative update shortly. However, Al has known our new David Postman for years and years, which is not surprising because Al seems to know just about everybody for years and years, which is fantastic. That's part of what we value in him. And he is very encouraged by this selection and pleased with the work that we'll be able to do together moving forward. So, so far, thumbs up on this election. Does anybody have any questions for Gregory? You can put it in the chat or pipe up. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Always important updates. So thank you very much. We are going to move on to our legislative agenda. This year, we get to continue giving updates after the deadline to move legislation out of the House of Origin, because we still have 2 bills that are moving through the legislature, which is really fantastic. And I will turn it over to Lara to give us that full update. And side note, sorry, Lara is our government affairs liaison here at the Cannabis Alliance, and some of you, all of you, will probably recognize her as our founding executive director as well. So I'll turn it over.
Thanks, Caitlin. So I am not quite as prepared as I would like to have been. I thought Al was going to be here, but that is okay. I can definitely give you an update. So there are 4 bills that we're still watching. It's actually been a really interesting session because it's been relatively light in terms of bills to track this year. Normally we have lots and lots and lots, but this has been a strangely quiet year, but there's some good things happening. So there's 2 bills that we're just kind of watching that we're not necessarily directly involved with, but we do support. And the first one had its hearing in the Senate Labor and Commerce Committee just this morning. It's 1443, which is the social equity bill, working with the task force. And it was a pretty straightforward hearing today. There was just 2 people signed up to testify. Pretty much everybody was in support, even those that didn't verbally testify. And so I think it's probably safe to say that that'll probably pass out of that committee as well. So that's good. The next bill that we've just been watching is 1210, and this is the one changing the language from marijuana to cannabis throughout the statute. And that bill is now in the Senate and also has a hearing scheduled for March 18th. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep our eye on it. And then getting to our own bills that we're pretty excited about. Senate Bill 5004. This is the bill that's removing the 37% excise tax for patients in the registry on DOH compliant products. This is now out of House of Origin and has moved over into the House. It started in the Senate and has a hearing scheduled, yay, for the 16th in Finance. And we're feeling really good about this. We're so excited that it's gotten this far and really hopeful. So with bills like this, this session, I'm not sure if Al's mentioned this in the past, but you know, because of the limitations of technology and not being able to be in person, a lot of the legislators are really asking for things to be pretty subdued, not a lot of testimony, but really clear and precise testimony. But that doesn't mean you can't show your support by signing in not wishing to testify. We actually really love it when people do that. It shows overwhelming support for the bills that that we are in favor of and that we're advocating for. So we will give you that information in terms of how to do that. If just ask, we will help you step through that process. But anyway, that hearing is scheduled for the 16th in Finance. And then the last bill is 1105, and this is the patient arrest protection, which is also hugely important bill. We're super excited it's gotten this far. It has a hearing scheduled for March 18th in the Law and Justice Committee. So things are moving along and we're doing good work, especially for patients this year, which, gosh, they needed some love. So we're happy to see these things moving, and I am happy to answer any questions. I think that's all I got. Caitlin, you can kind of fill in any details I may have missed.
Yeah, no, perfect coverage. Yeah, and I'm just checking in the chat. Does anybody have any questions about those bills?
John, I looked it up. It was, it looked like the hearing is on the 18th, not the 16th. I just looked it up today. Just for clarification.
Yeah, you know, those calendars change all the time. And I want to say thank you to Lara and Al, who's not able to be here today. We have just an extraordinary legislative team working hard, and that also includes our legislative committee. And we wouldn't be able to do this work without amazing folks like you all. So big thanks to everybody who's on board with this. Gregory, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that folks were aware about a kind of surprising, striking amendment on SB 5372, which is the hemp processor registration bill. And let me see if I can quickly pull up that link.
And
folks,
just go ahead.
Well, you know, this one was mainly like allegedly just focused on the hemp processors. who are not licensed. It's just a voluntary registration program to make it easier for folks to do interstate commerce on hemp products. But the LCB, from what I gather, worked in an amendment with Senator Stanford, which we had talked about briefly a few months ago. Like we had heard about it in the executive management team meeting. Turns out it was included in this striking amendment that was introduced on the floor on the bill on the way out of the Senate. Anyway, long story short, that striking amendment makes it possible for LCB to, for folks who are dual marijuana and hemp licensees who may have hemp products on site. And hemp products I take to mean not only flower on site, but also any processed products derived from hemp. So isolates would be included. It enables LCB to do testing on that for THC content. Whereas previously before, and it's even in statute, LCB is restricted from, they have no jurisdiction over hemp. And even in that restriction, it says, especially testing. So it's interesting that there's this new carve out on that and this new authority that'd be granted to LCB. So folks who are looking at bringing hemp products in, I think you should be aware of that one.
Thank you, Gregory, for pointing that out. And our legislative team is kind of doing our analysis still on that striker. And it's taking this bill that was something that we easily could support into a land where, yeah, if that's where we kind of land on what this means, then the Alliance will have to change its position on that. It was an interesting move from LCB to do that. All right, any questions? Any other questions about legislation? We've noted in the chat the correct dates for 1105 for those hearings. And again, I'd love to reiterate, you can at any time, especially write your legislators if they happen to be on the respective committees for these bills, go ahead and write them. Let them know what you think about where things are at. You can also always comment. And one really great way, so the Alliance this morning on the social equity bill, we signed in and provided written testimony so that we didn't take up agenda time, but also made it clear that we were in support of that legislation. And that's something that you can always do as well, so that it's in the official public record if you'd like. All right, then without further ado, we will move on. I have seen that Tammy Hetrick has come on in, and I would like to turn it over to Tammy. We have a deadline for sign up coming up. We are affiliate members of the Washington Food Industry Association. Man, I lost that acronym in my brain there for a second. With WFIA, and their very robust retro program, which is really fantastic. And with this deadline, now's a great opportunity if it's something that you've been considering to go ahead and hop on in. And I'll turn it over to you, Tammy, to give us some more information.
Thanks, Caitlin. Good afternoon. I think I've spoke with all of you before about our retro program, and that we really can get you money back on the taxes you pay in workers' comp. So it's a great program. It's almost one of those where a lot of people are surprised that you can do this and that you can actually make money back. But we have lots of members, some that I think have vouched for us on this, where we can help you. And so we have our next deadline is March 15th. So it's like next week. But if you're interested, we'd love to get you on, because every quarter you wait is less money you're getting back. So if you're not in a retro program, they keep that money that you pay. So this is an opportunity for you to get some of that money back on premiums. And I did invite Andrew Hurd, who is Employer Resources Northwest. They're our third-party administrator that manages the program. And I don't know, is Andrew on the phone? Do you see him anywhere?
I am here.
Oh, good. Hi, Andrew.
Hey.
So yeah, do you want to tell people a little bit about the enrollment process?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch base, the enrollment deadline did get pushed out until the 31st of this month due to COVID. So we definitely got some time to collect data. Typically how the process is going to start, it starts with a release. I believe a lot of individuals had received one. We do offer a complimentary consultation where we'll pull your data set from Labor and Industries and put together a customized quote specific to your company, along with a refund. The refund percentage is about 28 to 30% of your standard premium that you're paying to the state for workers' comp. Also, along with that, you get the safety support, claim support, and retro support. So it really is a all-encompassing program where we focus on the labor and industry stuff and allow you to focus on the business at hand.
Thanks, Andrew. So yeah, so I just wanted to, come out on today and just say, if you're interested, please sign up, at least get a release out there so we can talk to you and tell you what we could help you save. But also just, are there any questions? Excuse me, my throat. Are there any questions that we can answer for you or anything that you would like to know before we email everyone again?
And I will say this, that in addition to the premium recapture that you get with us, I know for myself, I actually went to Tammy and asked her a return to work question for an employee of mine. And that technical support is also extremely valuable. And especially if you're a smaller operation, it can be challenging to navigate the waters of ethical and appropriate employment practices. And this program is there to help all of you as well.
Yeah, thank you, Caitlin. That's a great point, because as part of your membership with us and our partnership that we have, we'll help you with any of that type of stuff. So, I'm very engaged in the HR side of things. Legislatively, we have a lot of common interests. So anything that we can do to help, but HR is a big part of what we do here in-house, and work with Andrew and his team. So yeah, we're always here to help as a member of both of our alliances. So thanks for that.
Thanks, Tammy.
I also just dropped my contact information in the chat. So if you wanted to reach out to me on any specific questions, feel free. My email and my phone number are both provided.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew, for coming today, and Tammy as well. So you will be receiving another mailing from WFIA with the details and how you can get enrolled if that's something that you would like to do. And it is one of our member benefits that we are affiliate members, and so we'd love to see folks be able to receive the support that we have offered through this partnership.
Great. Well, thank you all, and we'll let you go back to your meeting. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. All right, guys, we are getting kind of close. I would like to introduce our membership director, Kim Ducote. I know I'm going a little bit out of order, Kim. Is that all right?
Sean is having some technical difficulties. Let me see if I can check with her.
Okay, well then I will go ahead and we'll move on to our committee roundup, and then we will do our member highlight after that. Let's see, committees. I'm seeing who's made it on. I have a list of, in my absence, shares to give you all. So our committees, as usual, are moving ahead full steam. It's been really exciting to see the work of these committees start to come to fruition and really start to flourish. Our Equity and Justice Committee is full steam ahead with 3 subcommittees now at this point, working on organizing expungement days. So a few years back, the Alliance was instrumental in passing the expungement of nonviolent misdemeanors here in the state of Washington, which should have affected approximately 68,000 residents here. And unfortunately, because of the way our system works, we weren't able to do auto expungement here. So folks do have to fill out a form and seek that expungement. And in those 2 years, we have only seen about 120 people apprise themselves of that. And so we've been examining barriers that people might be running into in order to accomplish getting their misdemeanors expunged. And we are meeting that need by putting together an expungement day that will also become a template for an ongoing expungement program to assist in people being able to apprise themselves of that. And so if you are interested, in participating in the planning and then execution of that. Leafly has shown up in a really big way on this particular initiative, and quite a bunch of their staff members are participating. And if you'd like to participate as well, you can. And I apologize, Jill, I did not tell you I was going to do this ahead of time. If you wouldn't mind putting contact information for our committee chairs in the chat, I would appreciate it. You can reach out to Jessica Pichardo or Yoko Miyashita directly. They are the co-chairs for that committee. Trey, if I can turn it on over to you, would you like to talk about our education committee?
Absolutely. And so we are very grateful to the people who volunteered to participate by providing testimonials for our commercial, the first ever Cannabis Alliance commercial. So last week we worked with Mob Studios and filmed there, and we're able to get captures from Mary White, Jerry Whiting, Oscar Velasco Schmitz, Neil Lequa, Brian Stone, and then on Friday, Skagit Organics was nice enough to volunteer their space, where we got testimonials from Matthew Friedlander, Nancy Southern, Danielle Russellison, and Caitlin, of course, participated as well both days and helped us to organize and kind of run both of those. So we've got a lot of great raw footage, but we know that's just a portion of our membership. So if you would like to submit a testimonial and you have something to share, we would love to get the word out. And even though your piece might not be professionally produced, if you would like to email me, and I'll my email in the chat, I welcome you. We just asked our testimonial folks keep it to under 30 seconds, about 20, so that when we put these together, we can still keep the video rather short. Thanks to Caitlin, who's going to be taking a lot of that initial footage and creating time marks and trying to find the best take so that we can put those together. So thank you for everybody for doing that. Trying to think. Oh, also we had talked about Angela from Skagit Organics also initiated a program called gosh, what do we call it? Anyway, I can't. Nuggets of knowledge. Thank you. And so Nuggets of Knowledge. So licensees, if you're interested in making sure people know what your brand is all about, and have the Alliance help you to advertise that message, we ask you to once again contact me. I'm putting my link in the chat. If you'd like to submit a homegrown, guerrilla-made, that's no budget video, that we can help get the word out about your brand. We're happy to do that through using the power of the YouTube channel for the Alliance, and we can send you an example of what one of those looks like. So we're also looking at children's books. That's another effort from the Education Committee, the committee's just super, a lot of great involved folks. But we're looking at children's books. We mentioned this last time, I think. So if you know of a non-Reefer Madness children's book or a young adult book that would be appropriate for us to suggest to local librarians, that's our next step. So we're trying to vet some books so that kids in libraries who are curious don't get the same messages that we might have gotten. So if you know well-written children's books, once again, let me know and we'll put it on the short list. And then down the line, we'd like to consider having a book drive, but that's next steps. So thanks everybody. Chat's in the or links in the chat, and thanks for your time, Caitlin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trey. And just as a side note, Trey is a board member and the founder of the Academy of Cannabis Science, and you should check out their website and their class schedule. I am already putting a team of people together to start working through the curriculum. It's all good stuff there. Let's see. Our community outreach committee is our newest committee and has already started moving full steam ahead on some great ideas. A good example is Leadership Snohomish County was brought to us through that committee, and they are finding great ways to move through all of the information that's out there from all of the multiple jurisdictions that we find our businesses in, and they're identifying wonderful ways to connect and participate. If you would like to be on that committee, you can reach out to Josh Estes, and I'll get his email in the chat shortly, and you can join that effort. I am going to ask Jason if he would like to say anything about the Sustainability Committee. If you are a producer or processor, do you know that the Sustainability Committee has a questionnaire that has been put out? You will get that link again. It was in our newsletter, and then there was also an additional email put out, but we'll do another follow-up. If you could take a look at that, just assessing what your bio-waste situation looks like. We would like to be able to stop throwing our root balls and stems into landfills mixed with kitty litter or whatever it is that you've got on hand in order to get rid of this, of course, very dangerous plant waste, which is potentially very valuable plant not waste when used as compost and other repurposing. So if you are interested in joining the Sustainability Committee, you can reach out to Jason Lammers. There are other initiatives that committee is starting to work on as well that are really exciting, including battery reclamation and for vape pens, and then as well as starting to participate in nationwide initiatives around sustainability that impact the cannabis space. So lots of exciting stuff happening there as well. Our legislative committee is about to wrap up its work for this session this year. However, if you have heard all of the things that we've been talking about concerning legislation and that has been exciting to you, consider we'll be doing applications for the next session's legislative committee in June. And so if you think that you've got some time and a brain that is excited by reading through bills, this is a great committee for you to participate in. I really feel like I am missing something, Jill. Am I?
Unless the hemp committee wanted to say something.
Oh yeah, Jerry Whiting, would you like to say a thing or two in particular concerning our upcoming webinar?
Yes, I would. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Jerry Whiting. I'm the co-founder and president of LeBlanc C&E. I've been growing hemp in Washington State for the last few years, and I am putting out a call for help with a hemp subcommittee here at the Cannabis Alliance for several reasons. I gave a brief overview 1 or 2 meetings ago. Here's the deal. Cannabis has been the predominant cannabis sativa L group grown here in Washington State. As people realize that hemp and CBD are not synonyms, you're going to see people growing hemp for fiber and eventually grain. This brings into the discussion pollen drift. I have some ideas about it, but this needs to be a discussion among all parties in the state and regionally. To that end, to start the discussion and to not so much set the agenda, but just to give an overview, I put a page up at jerrywhiting.com/hemp. The issue is who grows what where. Humboldt County in California has already banned hemp cultivation. Chelan County, which has a moratorium on cannabis, is talking about the same thing for hemp. And I know that the Washington Sun Grower Industry Association, who are largely outdoor people, have real stake in the game and concerns. So I've written up a summary. There are 2 papers, one that Robert Clark co-wrote, and another from Oregon State University, that talk about the different types of hemp and cannabis what they look like now and where it could go. The reason this committee is important, I want everyone in the Canna family to get along. I don't want there to be Hatfield McCoy, sheep and cattle kind of feuds going back and forth, but it is a real issue. And we have a chance now, before there's a certified seed list coming out of ag, imposed on us, to come up with, as a community, best practices, SOP manuals, guidelines, whatever, but to direct our own destiny in this new industry. So again, I'd like people who have an interest in this, passing interest or dedicated interest, take a look at jerrywhiting.com/hemp. I outlined some of the points, but there are 2 papers at the bottom. And I will pass this on to the Alliance so that it can start to have a presence on the Alliance website as well. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jerry. And the links to both the website and Jerry's email are in the chat. And you can reach out both of those ways. And yeah, we'll certainly start sharing that far and wide. I think it is critical and wise that we take the lead on this rather than allowing regulators to make these decisions for us. We know how well that has worked in the past, which is to say not at all. And thank you, Jerry, for being such a leader in this area. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to thank Cannabis Observer for bringing this bill around hemp processing to my attention. That's another reason why the Cannabis Alliance as a community needs to have a unified chorus. There probably won't be one voice or one opinion, but that's what I'm looking forward to, is a consensus among all the stakeholders, hemp, cannabis, and dual licensees around this whole thing. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. And that is our superpower is consensus. And I love that idea of it being a chorus rather than a unified voice, but a chorus. That's how we get to the best solutions, right? Is we come at it from different perspectives and find something that works the best as best we can for everyone. So thank you, Jerry, very much. All right, so I am now going to reintroduce Kim Ducote, our membership director here at the Cannabis Alliance. And she is going to introduce our member highlight for this month. And thank you, Kim, and welcome.
Hi, Caitlin. Thank you. And hi, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. So our member spotlight, as I'm sure you've heard me talk about it the last several years, is really our opportunity to get to know a little bit more about our individual members, our business members. So today our member spotlight is with Shawn Dene, and she is with Washington Bud Company. And I know she's in her car driving, so looking forward to hearing from Shawn. Are you ready, Shawn? Well,
she's connecting. It'll be a second.
Okay.
I'll just start while she's connecting to audio and do a big shout out thank you to Shawn and the Washington Bud Company for being our presenting sponsor at Lobby Days. You know, a lot of people showed up. We had a lot of good fun and left an impact with our legislators all up and down the Hill. And it would not be possible without members like Shawn stepping up and being willing to help financially support us in that venture. So thank you very much to the Washington Bud Company. Ooh, let's see, can I unmute you?
All right, how about now?
Gotcha.
Oh, all right. No, I'm getting feedback. Oh well. I've got the car full of lunch, and it's harvest day, and we always buy crew, and I should have been there 10 minutes ago. So,
oh no.
You know, just the ownership of just a business ownership thing, and then you add all the cannabis stuff on it. It keeps you quite busy. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate the shout outs and all the love. Oh, there we go. It's been a real fun to get here so far. And I consider all you folks my community. I really appreciate that. And, you know, Jerry, I really appreciate hearing your message. The whole thing has just been dominating my thinking process for the last week. You know, as the topic is becoming more and more relevant. And so, yeah, I'm getting for helping out. You know, business pivot. I need to decide if we're going to put a hayfield into a field, right? We've got 9.5 acres that we could plant still. But this is all really important. And one thing I did want to say is there's also going to be a task force under the plan about the commission, because in May this year we got a hearing that didn't get out ready. But since biennium, it'll stay. You know, we'll have to
So Sean, I'm having a really hard time catching more than half words here from your audio.
Half words.
Right. So if it's okay, I'll sort of slip this one in for you so that everybody can hear what you're saying. Sean,
thank you.
Yeah, of course. Sean is putting together a task force for the Cannabis Research Commission. We have another year in front of us, and this year will be the year. And a lot of that has to do with the efforts of like Sean Dene and Laura Kaminsky. And so if you are interested in participating in that task force, the Alliance is also helping administrate that task force. We have a lot of work to do in the interim. This really is about hearts and minds. And so the more hands on deck we can have for this one, the better. And the more likelihood that this will be the last year that we will be talking about establishing a Cannabis Research Commission, because it will be established. So let's see, we can get Sean's email in the chat. Sorry, Jill, your Link Goddess. Thank you so much.
That's going to be on all of my business cards moving forward, by the way.
Okay, yeah, that's a new title, perhaps, Operations Director and Link Goddess. Well, as you all know, I mean, I think what I understood Sean to say when she started talking was, you know, running a business, as well as all of her activism work, is not an easy job, and can fill up 2 days for every 1 day that we actually have, for sure. So I want to thank Sean and Washington Bud Company for that continued activism. It's not easy to put both things on your plate with such passion and time commitment, and you do that every year, and we just so appreciate all of your work. And yeah, we can give a good round of applause was the end of that sentence. Sorry, guys. That's my big COVID flaw that I have developed, is sometimes I just don't finish sentences. And now my children have started just finishing them for me, which I don't have one of them with me right now. So sorry about that. So we are now on to the very end of our meeting, which is the upcoming events and anything that's good cause or announcements from our membership here. So I just want to highlight a few of our upcoming events. Next Wednesday will be the recast and Facebook live stream of our panel on equity and patient needs. We have a few of those panelists here today. Lisa Buchanan is on that panel, as well as Mary Brown, also Victor Calderon, and Sarah Jet Racer is also on that panel, and just beautifully moderated by Jessica Pichardo. And I highly recommend either catching it on YouTube or tuning in next Wednesday and then joining us for a Q&A afterwards to discuss really the critical topics that are covered in this discussion. And again, it's a really fantastic one. Also, then a reminder, March 18th is trivia night, come out and have a blast with us. Like it really is every single time at the end of our trivia night, everybody goes, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. So really apprise yourself of that. Trey Reckling and Jerry Whiting are fantastic co-hosts, and look forward to seeing you there at that event. And then, of course, mark on your calendars. We've mentioned it now a few times, our webinar on March 7th. We have office hours every Monday and Friday from 11 to 1. Feel free to come pop in. Any questions, chat, just check in. You never know who else you might bump into while you are there. And along those lines, I wanted to announce that we will be making our Zoom available for as a conference room, essentially, and especially during office hours, we're all put you and another person in a breakout room so you can have a private meeting. Just reach out to us here at the Cannabis Alliance. If you're challenged with Zoom access, you are welcome to use ours. Just need to schedule that with us, and we're happy to provide that. Then of course, happy hours on Fridays. Come have a blast with us, laugh and talk all things perfect. So I'll open it up now to anybody here in the group that has an announcement or something good for the cause. Get out and enjoy the sunshine.
Wait.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Lisa. Yeah, go right ahead.
Sorry. Hey, so I'm on the board at Cancer Lifeline. And it's an organization that provides free education and support to anyone affected by cancer. So patients, families, coworkers, neighbors, children, right? And I teach a class called Cannabis for Quality of Life. And they heavily promote that class. So their Breakfast with Funds fundraiser is going from March 17th to April 14th. It's all online. They were able to adapt all their programs to online within about 2 weeks of COVID in February last year. And they are really open to cannabis coming in. They see it as their client's right to choose. And I really support that. So I'm gonna put a link to my table in the chat. But I'm kind of encouraging people, if you're from the cannabis industry, to have your donation end in $4.20. And, you know, every donation matters. Not every institution will talk about cannabis to their clients. And I'm talking to people from all over the state. And on the other part of that, if you have examples of your packaging for your product, if you would send them to me, I'll share those in my Zoom, because people want to know about products, and I teach a lot about products. So I hope you consider it, and thanks for the 2 minutes.
Yes, of course. Absolutely. Thanks for bringing it to our attention, Lisa. Anybody got anything else? Great, and that is now in the chat. Then in that case, I will say it again. If you can, on our COVID anniversary today, get out and breathe some clean, fresh air in this lovely sunshine, and pat yourself on the back for a hard year. Not that a celebration is appropriate, but just kind of go, we at least made it here. So just delightful to see everybody, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.